Good evening, Canada and the rest of the world. It's the second season premiere of the Tom and Rick Show on Thursday, July 24th, coming to you from the Sunflower Deck at Lakeview Village. Tonight's guests are Ward 1 Councillor Stephen Dasko, from Lakeview Village, Brian Sutherland, joined by local artist Joanne DeGraaf. Musical guests, 2021 Juno nominee Samantha Martin, and as always, Cooking with Carson. And now here are your hosts, Tom Barlow and Rickferd Van Dyke.
Good afternoon, good evening. Wow, it feels great to say that again. And welcome to the Tom and Rick Show. Here we are, Season 2, Episode 1. It's a great pleasure to be back. Rick, how are you doing?
I'm doing great. Everything is cool. We're down here, Lakeview Village. We're doing an outdoor first show. It's been fantastic.
Yes, and one of the things that we really loved is we got to bring artists who maybe you hadn't heard of before and give them an opportunity in a lockdown to tell us who they are and play some music. And you know what? Two of the guests we had were nominated for Juno Awards this year. Story and Samantha Martin, who's coming up.
That's right. And it's just a great thing. The hope is coming back. People are coming out to gigs. We have gigs. We can actually announce gigs. Wow. Tom, where are you going to be?
I'm going to be at Shore on Thursday evenings. And yourself?
I'm going to be at the Shore with Chris Van Reed on Sundays, starting after July 2nd from 5 to 8. Come on out, support, and we need you. You might need us, but we need you more.
100%. And we also got big news from the Mississauga Arts Council.
We do. We've been nominated for a Marty, which is Mississauga Arts Council gives out awards, and that's going to be premiering on June the 29th, and that's Tuesday, June the 29th.
Tuesday,
so tune in,
June 29th.
See us win or lose. We got nominated.
We got nominated. We thank
our
the
little
Mississauga
show.
Arts Council. We're gonna throw in a little bit of info for you about the Marty Awards at the end of the show. Ladies and gentlemen, it is a joy to be back, and we have a fantastic lineup for you today, and we'll see you.
Yeah, bringing music to the people again, Season 2. Did you like that?
I thought it was great.
Okay.
Good afternoon, good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and what a joy, a privilege it is to have champion of live music, all around good guy and excellent communicator. Stephen Dasko is here with us. You know, Rick, we have struggled through this pandemic, and it seems a lot of times we didn't have anyone on our side.
That has been Stephen throughout the pandemic. He's always been a champion of our profession, right?
Yes.
So getting the patios and taking care of the noise bylaws and things.
Yeah,
He's very proactive.
So Stephen, what's been going on?
Yeah.
Hi guys, it's been far too long. Haven't seen you for ages. Love to see. Congratulations, by the way, Season 2. Awesome.
Thank you very
Very
much.
awesome, and also nominated. You guys,
We got nominated for a Juno.
I'm surprised I can
Or
get
Not
on
a Juno,
anymore.
a Marty.
Yeah,
Marty.
on the Martys, yeah. I'm surprised I can get on anymore. I mean, you've really taken it to a whole other level now.
Well, if Jake gets on, you can get on.
Yeah, so I understand patios can have live entertainment July 2nd.
Yeah.
What did you have to do to make that happen?
It's looking at how the province has been rolling out phase 1, phase 2, etc. That's unfortunately out of our hands. Again, you know, I think we've said this a bunch of times on the show, is not disputing the virus, not disputing what's going on in the world, but just disputing some of the plan in terms of how they're executing or not executing on things and what makes sense and some things that don't. So July 2nd is what we do know. Can't control that, but we do know the dates there. What we can control is for noise exemptions, and that's outdoor noise exemptions for live music. I've encouraged everybody that's got a facility that can do it to please get your exemptions in, so that soon as the second hits, or if they do it sooner, etc., we're all ready to go. It's a matter of just, you know, you getting the call and you show up and you start playing, and we're back to the way things should be, with some extra vibrancy And the other part that really makes me crazy is we're talking about professional musicians, people that are doing this for a living. They're playing in controlled professional environments. I would be more concerned, quite frankly, of people playing in somebody's basement or a shut down garage or something like that,
Right.
where this is something that's being well thought out and orchestrated. So, the second can't come soon enough for me.
Now, driving through Port Credit on my way here to the studio, people were out on patios, they're having a beer, having lunch. It started to look like normal. How do you see the rest of the summer rolling out in terms of businesses opening? I know the small businesses have really struggled, and sort of starting to get that feel that we're back.
I think for the rest of the summer is a lot of it's going to be weather contingent, because from what I've seen in phase 1, phase 2, a lot of it is outdoor based. And I think that's great that we're able to do that. A lot of what we did as a council, and again, what was in our control is we thought about the patios, pop-up markets, things like drive-in bingo, things like that, that we could do. And so we got that all organized, and it's, again, free for people to set up and pretty easy to do. That's why you're seeing places like Bobby's, for example, on Lakeshore. They've got their patio set up in the parking lot and things like that. And I'm encouraging everybody as well to do the same thing. If you're able to put out a couple of tables and chairs, please do that, because it might make the difference between you making a living or not. And so we've got that till the end of this year, and spoiler alert, I'm going to be bringing it up that we extend that for another year, because I think it's going to take quite a while for everybody to get back on their feet.
Well, I think that's great. I mean, we go to shore, back patio. It's a great vibe back there. It's safe. I get to play there. You get to play there. It's monitored.
I don't see it. I don't see it going backwards. I see maybe as far as a reduction in what we have now as far as patios go, but I just don't want to see it go backwards. I think it brings an opportunity for a different kind of revenue stream to the businesses that they'd never experienced, and I don't think they're going to do without it. So I think those patios are here to stay, and I think that it should be allowed. Whether this was a temporary thing with the patios,
right.
I don't believe it should be. I think it should be a permanent thing of some capacity of what they had before.
Couldn't agree more with you, Rick. I think you've really nailed on something, because one of the few good things that's come out of this whole pandemic is the fact that we're looking at the outdoor spaces in a different way.
Yes.
And a lot of other spots, you drive by, they're very sterile. There's nothing really going on. You have to go inside. There's no outside capacity or anything like that. Everything's very rigid and structured, and it's you look at parking lot and there's nothing there. Well, now you can see there's things that are actually there popping up. You can see people. It's vibrant. It's got a great vibe to it. So yeah, 100%. I hope that continues on. But certainly from a city standpoint, in terms of what we can do at council, I'm going to try to push it for another year, and hoping that the council also supports me for that, because to me it's the right thing to do, and it just gets people feeling a little bit more comfortable getting out again, because the outdoor spaces,
seeing a live venue, and letting the businesses recoup some portion of the losses that they've had during this pandemic, with all the restrictions. Are this, now they're not, now they're this, now they're not.
100%.
So at least give them a year to get some revenue back.
Yeah.
Now, we were discussing, when you ran for city councillor, you sort of know what that job is.
Yeah.
You're going to be managing the relationship between business and neighbors, parking, noise violations, litter, getting cops on the streets in Port Credit, sort of typical things. And then suddenly, for a year and a half, you have to be knowledgeable of science, of microbiology, of managing people who don't believe in facts. How did you get through this year and a half thinking, I'm going to be a city councillor to, wow, now I am doing healthcare and science and all of these other things? It must have been quite a year and a half.
Incredible year and a half, to say the least. And it was something that when it first really started rolling out, and I remember this like it was yesterday, there was the former chief medical officer at Peel, and this was in February, and we were talking about COVID, and it was a much different conversation than what we're having now. What was known about it was so different. We had no idea at the time. If you recall, it was all about wearing gloves, not masks.
Right.
And then all of a sudden it was, okay, you've got to now cover your face and things of that nature. And then just the way it hit full on, and it just shut the whole world off. But it really gave credence to trusting in the professionals in terms of guiding us through. And I'm not talking about what stage of a recovery or a shutdown you're in. That's a different conversation. But when I'm talking about, social distancing, keeping far enough away from each other, being outside versus an inside location, the vaccine, what a game changer that was when that came out. Things of that nature on the science side of things. But yeah, I never saw that coming in a million years. But I've got to really thank our chief medical officer, Dr. Lowe. He's a guy that has been beaten up mercilessly. And strength of convictions, not to say that I always agree with him, I respect him, but he's really done a heck of a job in terms of getting us through all this too. So,
as have you. And
Yeah,
now,
I'm just going to say that.
before we have to go here, what can the people of Ward 1 look forward to this summer? What's opening? What's on the horizon that's exciting?
Well, I've got to say, when I look out and I see that crystal ball, provided that we don't get some variant that's going to really knock us out again and things like that, I'm seeing that we're going to get more normalcy popping back up again. And I'm hoping that, for example, the Southside Shuffle, they've pivoted a bit in having potentially 2 locations, one in Port Credit, one out in Lakeview,
Right.
just to spread crowds out a little bit, but to get people back again, get Port Credit in southern Mississauga. It's a spot that people know as a tourist destination, and it's great to have people, but we want things for people to do so they don't keep gathering in the places that make some of the residents completely crazy.
Right.
And rightfully so. We want to have some things for people to do, and on top of that, we want to have kids playing baseball and soccer and all those kind of fun things again. Give them some things to do. And then longer term, what I'm looking forward to, we're at the site here of Lakeview, which is great.
Yep.
There's going to be an arts bent to Lakeview, which I think is extremely exciting. And I keep pushing the envelope and hopefully some good plans moving forward for some live music type of attractions here too, because I think this would be spectacular.
Totally
There's
is.
a once in a generation opportunity that we can really take advantage of having a full blank slate.
Right.
And building things that are really cool and exciting, and have no interest in just building another housing development.
Right.
Wanting to do something that's a full, complete community, and you can't have a complete community without the arts.
That's what this place is all about.
I think that is a beautiful way to end it as we are here in this venue. Thank you very much for making the time to come in
Thank
today.
you,
I know
Stephen.
you're super busy, and thank you for being a champion of the arts in our community. Ladies and gentlemen, Stephen Dasko, and we will be right back. Welcome back, my friends. Very excited about our next guest.
Yeah, one of the main purposes why we started the show in the beginning is to showcase the amazing artists in our community.
And one of our favorite guests from last year is Samantha Martin. This year, she was nominated for a Juno Award for Blues Album of the Year. Ladies and gentlemen, Samantha Martin.
I lost my mind when I found you. Couldn't believe that you wanted me to. Kisses are sweet if that's all you do, but there is something about talking to you. I've had my share of being the reckless one, and I got a feeling hours into days. If this was a war, I feel that I could love you 1,000 more. When I met you many times before. Well, my days feel like weeks, and I won't wait anymore, 'cause I've had my share of being the reckless one, and I got a feeling, I got a feeling this might be love. Forgive my heart, I love you this way. Will our tomorrows be yesterday? What would it take for you to say, oh, I wanna love you always, 'cause I've had my share of being the reckless one, and I got a feeling, I got a feeling this might be love. I got a feeling, I got a feeling this might be love. Oh, I know, you know it might be love. No, it might be love. I got a feeling. Oh, I got a feeling. I got a feeling. Oh, I got a feeling. Oh, it might be love. Oh, it might be love.
Welcome back, my friends. What a treat that was. We are sitting with Samantha Martin.
Amazing.
Wow, what
Amazing.
a performance. Is that song on the new album?
It is absolutely on the new album.
Juno nominated new album?
It is track number 6.
Fantastic. So when we last spoke, you came to the house, we were shooting at the house. I asked you how things were going and you said, well, Tom, I had a tour booked, I had an album coming out, it's all gone up in smoke. And here we are now. The world is reopening. You are now a Juno nominee. Was that your first nomination?
No, it's my second, actually.
Second nomination?
Yeah, I've lost 2 in a row now.
Well,
I get it. 0 for 4.
We get it.
Now tell us about the future. Tell us about what is happening and the transition from when you were on the show last to where you are now.
When I was on the show last, we weren't sure like if we were going to be able to get the album out and that sort of thing. We had just, I think, released a single
Right.
when I came the last time, and we ended up fast tracking it, and we released the album November 20th. We played this great big show at the Belleville Theatre. I had a 12-piece band. It was live streamed. I think we had 80,000 people tune in over the
Nice.
course of a weekend.
Wow, 80,000
Great.
people.
That's great.
Yeah, it
That's
was.
like Wembley Arena.
I know. I wish I could draw that many people in one spot at one time. That would be, amazing. But and then of course we got the Juno nomination, which was spectacular. And so far now we're just kind of coming out of the lull of the spring and not sure if things were going to open up or not open up. And we have some shows starting in August.
Cool.
So we're going to be playing sort of in southern Ontario. So like a lot of Grey Bruce, Simcoe
Right.
kind of area shows. And then we've got one out in Fredericton for Harvest Jazz and Blues in the fall.
Awesome.
And then October, November, we're really got our fingers crossed for Europe.
Wow.
We have it all booked now, whether or not everything kind of happens or not.
Hopefully this year it's not gonna do it, but
Hopefully there's
we're
no
all
more
hopeful.
surprises.
Yeah, we don't need
Exactly.
that.
I think the biggest surprise would be if Canada doesn't get a vaccination passport situation,
Right.
and Europe requires it. Like I think that's the
Right.
one thing that I hope doesn't become an issue for a lot of touring musicians.
or it's clarified and easy to get.
Exactly.
Like come on.
Exactly. So I think that's the only thing that's up in the air right now for us, but we're really, really hopeful and actually positive
Good.
for a change. Like we were booking stuff and kind of going, oh, well, this is probably not going to happen, but that's great. Thank you.
Right.
We were doing that. Yeah.
So I think now we're starting to get to the point where it's like, oh no, this
It's real.
actually might happen.
That's
Yeah.
super
Yeah.
exciting. Now,
Yeah.
can you talk a little about that song? It's so soulful. It seems to come from so deep inside of you. Do you write solo? Do the lyrics come first? How was that song born?
That song, my guitar player Curtis. So today I was playing with Mike Celia, who's a
Yeah.
dear friend
Shout
who lives.
out for the guitar player.
Shout out to Mike
on, man.
Celia. He plays with Digging Roots and Tanika Charles and Tafari Anthony and a lot of sort of the community of friends that I've come up in the Toronto music scene playing music with.
Right.
And because of course COVID and my guitar player lives in Ottawa, Curtis, and so he wasn't able to come with me today, but Curtis and I write a lot of songs together, and that was one that just kind of flowed really quickly. He had the guitar sort of like the instrumentation worked out, and he's like, what do you think about this? And I just immediately started riffing a bunch of melodies over top, and then came the lyrics. And the lyrics are very personal for me. It was about falling in love with my now boyfriend, so
Wow, beautiful.
yeah, so it was all it's that scary moment of, when people say, oh, you're falling in love, because it feels like falling sometimes. It can be kind of scary
Right.
and exhilarating at the same time. So
Well, I think that emotional reality really comes out of the song.
Thank
and
you.
your delivery and the song itself. Now,
That's true.
before we let you go, please tell us how people can find you, because you are playing and you do have this amazing new record.
absolutely. So it's SamanthaMartinMusic.com is the website, and we've got all of our tour dates and merch and all that sort of good stuff on there. And then anywhere on social media, it's at Roots and Roll. So ROOTSNROLL.
Amazing.
Roots and Roll.
Right on.
Well, wasn't that great that we got Samantha for our first
So
show of
good.
the season?
Yes,
Thank
so
you
good.
so much for being with us.
So good to be
Make
back.
sure you check out Samantha's socials and find out where she is and pick up her new album, stream it.
And go to a live show. And
G5
pay the
it,
money.
whatever it is. And yes, pay the money.
Pay the money.
Go to the
Pay
show.
the money.
We will be right back. Good afternoon and good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to the Tom and Rick Show. Rick, it's been a fantastic show so far.
What a wonderful place to be.
And we are very excited
So nice.
about our next guest. We have Brian Sutherland and Joanne Feely DeGraaf. Did I get that right?
Yep.
Excellent. Now, Brian is the VP of Development at Argo Developments and has been in the development and planning industry for 20 years, both with municipal governments and developers. Joanne has a Bachelor of Fine Arts from York University and is an award-winning artist and educator. Now, we have had dozens, I would say hundreds of guests. Never before have I heard or seen an interview with a developer and an artist together.
That's true.
Now that is sort of the vision of this development. How did a developer and an artist come together in this project?
Yeah, first of all, thanks for having us here today to be part of your show, and welcome here to Lakeview Village.
Thank you.
Certainly, meeting Joanne and some other local artists was a really unique and exciting aspect to the kickoff of this project here in Lakeview, where we started working with an organization called Artscape that does a lot of great work cultivating opportunities for artists. And we're thinking about, knowing that embedded in even early work within the community for the Inspiration Lakeview Master Plan, that there was always this idea for an arts and culture hub to be here in Lakeview, part of this future redevelopment project on the waterfront. We started thinking about opportunities of involving ourselves with the local art community in really interesting and great ways. And one of the first projects that we have underway on site is our Discovery Center up on Lakeshore Road. And we knew we were going to be putting construction hoarding around it, and we thought, well,
that's not my new house up there?
That's not your new house. No.
Okay.
No, I mean, we could maybe.
I'll plant some sunflowers.
Yeah.
I'll do what I must.
Yeah, we need help maintaining the sunflowers, So, but certainly we just looked at it as an opportunity, working together with Artscape to reach out to the local art community and think of unique and creative ways to build those relationships, because it's so important for this project in the long term to have that arts and culture hub built into the embedded into the fabric of what this community needs to be, and we needed to start right away. So then the pandemic hit, and it just evolved into this amazing initiative where we were able to work with 19 individual artists last year, including Joanne. Bring them in, have them tell their story about everything that everyone was feeling at that point in time given the pandemic, and tell a story about the reimagining and redevelopment of a waterfront. So it's just such a special opportunity, and something that we learned a lot from and we really valued. And I think the community really valued it too, because they were able to come and reconnect with the site in a really special way and see some of the great artwork that Joanne and the other artists did.
Just not like staring at dump trucks going up and down the street.
Yeah.
Get them involved in, there's actually going to be a really cool community here.
That's right.
Now, what was it like as an artist, Joanne, to have this sort of canvas where, your mandate is to do the great art you do and incorporate it into a development site? It must have been a unique kind of inspiration.
Well, I feel very lucky to be a part of this project. I can add one more thing that I'm bringing to the table today, because I'm also a community member. So I live in the local area, and I remember when the Four Sisters came down. So there was a lot of anticipation about what would happen, but there was a lot of uncertainty. So when the development ideas started to come together, there was a lot of vision in the Lakeview area. So there were a lot of people in the local area who were speaking up and saying that they wanted projects like this, and they wanted to see art, which of course was very exciting for me, because from the inception there was this idea of connecting the Lakeview community back to the lake, but making it a vibrant community that could really bring the culture to the area and root it here. And I know that it's roots and plants and sunflowers, but you know what, it all works in my mind, because that's really where it started. It was a lot of people in the area envisioning in the area that brought the art and the development, the redevelopment, to a site that you wouldn't expect would be able to be transformed in this way. So it's very, very exciting.
It's not a bunch of buildings blocking a lake. It's much more.
I was thinking that exact thing. I grew up in Toronto. I've watched that lakefront, and if you drive through Etobicoke to Toronto, you see high rises separating the people from the lake, and separating your coffee from its cup. But now, Brian, this development has invested $350,000 so far in art. How does that work? How do you make that pitch? Well, we're going to do development, but the first 350 grand is going to go to artists. It seems like such a unique relationship with artists.
I guess you could say it is a little unique, but we just felt it was very important. Given again, the early visioning and the ideas of the importance of placemaking, the importance of arts and culture for Lakeview. This is a unique project and it needs a unique approach. And we needed to connect with, moving forward, we need to connect with the community in a variety of different ways, from the arts and culture to other aspects, to connecting people back with Lake Ontario. And this was just one of those ways that, it was such a rewarding experience last year doing the first set of projects that we did in and around the Discovery Centre and the Sunflower Fields, that we wanted to continue it again next year, meaning this year now, which we've got a new project underway now with an additional sculpture that's happening and some other projects that we're working with local artists inside the Discovery Centre. And we want to keep that going moving forward. And it's important that it's building a sort of a pathway to this eventual culmination of this arts and culture hub here at the lake. So it's important that we started early and that we build these relationships not only with the arts community but the overall community on a variety of different aspects to really start now, because we're still in the planning approval stage of the project, and we haven't got going with any of the real actual infrastructure and building, but we're building a project early on and building a community and building a feel of what Lakeview is going to be. And that's why making that type of step forward early on was so important to us, and it was something that we were easily able to communicate to our partners and understand how it was the right thing to be doing.
And are there a lot of people sort of looking at this level of integration between art and development and saying, this could be the role model, this could be the vision? I certainly hope they are.
I think so. I think we heard that a lot through the community. We had a lot of community information sessions and work through the master plan process. Something I heard a lot was the role of arts and culture in a project like this. Even Jim Tovey, who is the inspiration for all of this. I mean, you guys know how much how he was tied to the arts and culture world and how he had that same type of vision for arts and culture here in Lakeview. So it's something that I think all of us, all stakeholders, from us as development to the arts community to the local community, all believe in, right? And I believe it's going to be a critical component to making this a real special place on the waterfront.
Now, Joanne was mentioning, concerns in the community when a developer comes in. One of the concerns we hear a lot is about density. How do you manage all of these moving parts? You've got commitment to art, you have a very large development happening, and you have neighborhood concerns about density.
Yeah, and they're important concerns, they're important comments, they're important discussions to be having, obviously through this entire process that are going to continue even as we advance. This is a multi-phase, long-term project that that level of engagement and discussion with the community on concerns like density are going to continue. But certainly we were fortunate enough to have a very extensive public consultation process where we heard a lot of great feedback from the community, what was important to them, what those concerns are. And I think our master plan and the endorsement we got from Council City Hall really reflected and respected those concerns and had a plan for density in the right ways. Certainly, we've got an incredible amount of public park and open space infrastructure that we're planning around here, from 50 acres of parks within the project itself, the amazing Jim Tovey Lakeview Conservation Area, 64-acre coastal conservation area at the foot of our project, the Lakefront Promenade Park behind us here, and then the interconnected regional park system there, that we have hundreds and hundreds of acres of park space that it's the right way to plan for density in relation to this. And then layering on that the whole concept of this truly being a pedestrian friendly and transit supportive community where we're planning for the right densities to connect people into that planned transit system. And a lot, we're working hard right now to think about sustainability and creating a really truly sustainable community in a lot of different ways, from social sustainability to hopefully being able to pull off a district energy system here and a vacuum waste system that we're working hard to implement. So I think it's all of these things kind of coming together to tell that story about planning for everything, including density, in the right way and in the right opportunity for a project like this. A really special thing.
I thank you very much for making the time to come in today, and I hope, for many reasons, that this becomes everything we hope it can become, and that it becomes a model that future developments will use, and we will no longer see the gray, Soviet era kind of block-looking housing. Yes. And we will have arts, and we will have parks, and we have all these things you're doing.
We'll have Lake Ontario and people connecting with the lake again in a way that's really special.
Exactly.
So,
well, thank you very much, guys.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you for having me.
Just before we go, Joanne, can you tell us where people can find you and your art online?
Sure. I have a website, joannedegraaf.com.
And they can
I'm on
find you there.
Facebook. I'm on Instagram. I'm on Twitter.
All right, and we encourage people from the neighborhood, come down, have a look at the murals, have a look at the art.
This is not blocked off,
it
people.
is
There's
really
a street
is
right
unique.
here. You can come down, you can see the site, feel the wind, look at the sunflowers when they come up. I mean, it's not a blocked off wall on Lakeview or Lakeshore that you wonder what's going on down there.
Yeah.
You can come down and see yourself.
Yeah. Ladies and gentlemen, we will be right back.
I love the eggplants. Woo! We are the eggplants. Woo! Parmesan, yeah. Cooking for you, cooking for you. Second season, Carson Freeman. He is cooking out for taking birthday. See how we eat when Carson cooks a treat. See how we smile. I'm smiling.
Hey guys, Carson Freeman here, and today we're cooking eggplant parmesan on Cooking with Carson. This is a classic, and this is a dish that I used to make. I remember when my wife and I would be music teachers, and she'd come home a little bit later than me, and I started to get fancy doing some little dishes, but I'd make dishes that were for two people. This is before we had 3 kids to feed, and this is my take on eggplant parmesan. Okay, so what I've done is I have cut up my eggplant, I've diced my, minced my garlic, and got everything prepped and ready to go. So this is gonna move pretty quickly. What we do when we make eggplant parmesan, there's different ways to do it. It's usually baked almost like in a casserole dish. I'm gonna do it a little bit differently because I wanna get those eggplants nice and crispy, and I wanna get a lot of texture on the outside, but I want the inside to be nice and light and fluffy. Okay, so I'm gonna get started. I'm gonna do what they call a breading station. So what we do is we're gonna cover the eggplant slices in egg yolk, and then we're gonna put it in breadcrumbs, and we're gonna flavor that a little bit, and it's gonna be fantastic. So what I'll do is I'll get the egg cracking right here. I wanna do it, I like to do it with one hand, but that way I often get it on me, and I don't want any egg on my hands. Don't want any egg on my face either. Okay, so mix this up nicely. And I'm gonna season every step of the way. A little bit of pepper in there, some sea salt, just a little touch. And here I have my breadcrumbs. I have some panko breadcrumbs. What you wanna do is you wanna have a mixture of kind of regular breadcrumbs and panko. So what I do is I'll take my panko and I will crush those up. It'll make some a little bit smaller ones. So the smaller breadcrumbs will kind of go in those nooks and crannies. The bigger ones will stay on top and give it that crispiness, okay? But just like dry bread, it needs some flavor. And what I'm gonna do is, once again, some salt and pepper. Sometimes I add dry herbs, but I find depending on what the herb is, sometimes they will burn in the oven. So I'm gonna add basil later as my herb. And what I'm gonna do too is add just a little bit of grated Parmesan. So right into my breading mixture, just a little bit of beautiful Parm. Okay, this is also gonna crisp up and give it that beautiful flavor. There we have it. Get yourselves one of those microplanes I was using. If you don't have one, you'll thank me for it. One last thing is some flour. So I have a bowl here with some flour. I'm gonna put the eggplant in there, okay? They're all relatively the same size, okay? Got lots of flour on there. I'm just gonna pat off the excess. I'll put my eggplant into the egg mixture. Just get the whole thing coated. Okay. Both sides. And this is where you kind of consider your life decisions and say, hey, why didn't I pick a bigger bowl? I had lots of time to prep for that. Okay, and then right into my breadcrumbs. Right in there. See, I have the fork right in there. It's no problem. Flip it over and fully coat your eggplant with that breadcrumb mixture. What I'm going to do is I'm going to do that with a few of these, and I'm going to put them in the oven for, oh, my oven just preheated perfectly on time. 350 degrees for 45 minutes. I'm going to flip them halfway through, and then I'm going to show you what those beautiful eggplant are going to look like. Okay guys, while my eggplant is cooking in the oven, I'm going to make a really simple sauce. I'm going to make a tomato sauce using, tomatoes. And I have these beautiful vine-ripe tomatoes, okay? What I did was I washed them. Let me show you what I did, okay? So I'm going to take one of these knives, one of these tomatoes, take one of these knives, and what I did was I took the core out, just like this. I find a steak knife works the best to take that out. And then on the back, I'm just going to make an X. Just score that. And I put these tomatoes just like this in boiling water just for a minute. It blanches them, and what it does, it's going to take the skin and loosen it right up. Otherwise, you would have a very difficult time trying to peel a tomato. I think you could agree, okay? And that's what we're using. Let me just wipe my hands over here. Making tomato sauce out of fresh tomatoes, especially in the summer months when we have beautiful vine-ripe tomatoes like this, is essential to being able to eat tomatoes in their peak natural state. So let me take some beautiful extra virgin olive oil, okay? Put it into my pan. This is a small, thick bottom pot, so it will burn my garlic very quickly. So I'm going to put the garlic in here. Hear that sizzle. This is 2 large cloves of garlic. Okay. Move that around. I'm just waiting for the garlic to get translucent and start to toast just ever so slightly. And it smells great. Very aromatic. Some sea salt in there. That'll help release the oils from the garlic. Some pepper. Okay, that's starting to brown now. Oh, getting some of those fumes. Let's put the tomatoes in. I'm going to omit that skin. I'm going to add the juice, tomato juice. And I'm just going to break these down. These are going to stew, they're going to boil in their own juices, they're going to thicken, and it's just going to give us a phenomenal tomato flavor. Breaking these down as I stir. You can see how very few ingredients there are. I'm going to add some basil to that too. If you want, you can add a little bit of white wine. You could add some balsamic vinegar. Yeah. And these tomatoes that I use are at their ripest. Just when they're almost ready to go bad, that's when a lot of canneries will make tomato sauce. They'll can the tomatoes. You can use plum tomatoes, anything from your garden. Juicy tomatoes all over my thumb. And now what I'm going to do, as this just kind of cooks down, I'm going to add in just a sprig of basil. That's going to wilt. It's going to add some more aromatics, some more flavor. And I know it's just going to need a touch more of pepper and salt. This is where I'm going to put the pepper and salt on their finer gratings. You can adjust the bottom so the grains of pepper and salt will just be a little bit more fine. Okay, cool. So while that's cooking, I'm going to check on my eggplant. Oh yeah, that looks really nice. It's been in there for just about 45 minutes. I flipped it halfway through. And that top, you can hear how it's crusty. Nice and crusty on there. What I'm going to do is I'm going to, on that eggplant, I'm going to add some mozzarella. Okay? So this is some grated mozzarella cheese that I have. And I'm going to take it and just add it right on top of each of these pieces and let it melt as it's in the oven, okay? So it's okay if it hits the sheet pan a little bit. Cooking eggplant in the summer. Eggplant, everybody's favorite emoji. Okay, a little bit more cheese on there. I'm going to show you how we're going to finish this dish in just a few moments. We'll be back and see what our finished product is going to look like. Okay, my cheese should be melted now. Let's take the eggplant out of the oven. Oh yeah, beautiful. Now I'm just going to show you how I'm going to plate this. So the cheese is melted. I'm going to use that to help stick this together. Okay. Bottom of this beautiful dish. Some of you might have seen me on the TV show, Come Dine With Me. And I remember buying these dishes for that, and I still use them all the time. And some of the comments on that show were like, where did you get those plates? I didn't reveal my secret because I don't remember where I got them. One on top of the other. And we're going kind of like a snowman, the biggest one on the bottom. This is a good sign when they're stuck together like that. Stack them. Got some basil here. Put that on top. A little bit of pepper. Okay. And lastly, most eggplant parmesan is really eggplant mozzarella. There's not a lot of parmesan. And I'm going to put a bunch on the top. Just let it snow on my snowman. There you have a beautiful eggplant parmesan. You could try it at home. Eggplant are in season, and you can definitely enjoy them this way. Thanks for tuning in.
Less!